अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. In continuation of reading the book Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, the Vedic standard and the example set by the previous acharyas was that if one wanted to lead a preaching movement, sannyas was required. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta had taken sannyas to facilitate his missionary work. Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas to further the Sankirtan movement. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when his young students had been disrespectful towards him, treating him as an ordinary man, he had taken sannyas. Because a sannyas is automatically respected, Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas was a calculated tactic. As soon as he began traveling throughout India as a sannyasi, he immediately attracted thousands of followers to the Sankirtan movement. Knowing that many cheaters would accept the saffron dress and abuse the respect given to sannyasis, Lord Chaitanya had advised against accepting sannyas in the age of Kali. He knew that cheaters in the guise of sadhus would act immorally, accumulate funds for their own sense gratification, and make many followers simply to enhance their own prestige. Posing as swamis, they would cheat the public because the people in Kali Yuga are unable to follow the rules and regulations of sannyas. Lord Chaitanya had recommended that they simply chant Hare Krishna. However, if a person could actually follow the rules, and especially if he had to spread the Sankirtan movement, sannyas was necessary. Abhay first had to approach one of his god brothers for permission. He decided to turn to Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, formerly Kunja Vihari, the leader of the Chaitanya Mutt in Calcutta. Abhay still thought of the Chaitanya Mutt as the headquarters of a spiritual master's mission. During the heated legal disputes, the Chaitanya Mutt had been the most prized acquisition, and since 1948 it had been under the legal ownership of Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj. Now, although each sannyas had his own place or places, the Chaitanya Mutt and Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj legally represented the Gaudiya Mutt entity. Abhay felt that if he were to take sannyas and go preach in America, he should give the Chaitanya Mutt the first opportunity to support his work. In April 1959, Abhay wrote to Tirtha Maharaj inquiring about sannyas and the Chaitanya Mutt's printing some of his manuscripts. And since no one was going abroad, he volunteered to do so on behalf of Chaitanya Mutt. Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj replied that Abhay should first join the Chaitanya Mutt. He mentioned the strife that still lingered. Those who are acting against Chaitanya Mutt, they are motivated by their individual ambitions. Anyone who was against the Chaitanya Mutt, he said, was actually illogically and against the instructions of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So according to Tirtha Maharaj, the thing for Abhay to do, the thing he had neglected to do for so many years, was to join the Chaitanya Mutt and act under his direction. Tirtha Maharaj mentioned several members of Chaitanya Mutt who had recently accepted the sannyasa order, and he said that Abhay could also become one in time. He invited Abhay to come reside at the Chaitanya Mutt. The houses that we have, there are rooms and that are airy and well lit. We will treat you exclusively. There won't be any difficulty. We will take care that no inconveniences are caused. But as for printing books, we are eagerly awaiting to print the books like Sat Sandarbha Vedanta based on devotional service and many other rare books by the Goswamis. First, we will print them. Books written by you will be checked by the editorial staff, and if the funds can be raised, then they can be printed according to priority. The books will be printed only if they are favorable for the service of the Chaitanya Mutt. Therefore, if the fund is raised, then there is a plan to go abroad as well. Abhay was not encouraged. The main difficulty he felt was Chaitanya Mutt's shortage of funds. Srila Prabhupada, I was working with my broken typewriter. I went to our Tirth Maharaj. You give me a room and print my books. Give me some money, I will join you, I had thought. This is Guru Maharaj's institution. He did not say so. He did not say no. But the printing of books was a difficult task for him. He had no money. He was hardly collecting for maintaining. Printing of books is a big job and there is no guarantee of sale. Without printing books and going to West, sannyas did not have meaning for Abhay, and who knew when Tirth Maharaj would sanction his taking sannyas. There was no point in going to Calcutta just to reside in an airy, well-lit room that he had already in Vrindavan. Abhay wrote back to Tirth Maharaj mentioning his direct order from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati to preach to the English-speaking people. He wanted to go to the West right away, and he had thought the Chaitanya Math would welcome his offer. Both Abhay and Tirth Maharaj had their responsibilities, but perhaps they could work together to carry out the desire of the spiritual master. Abhay asked Tirth Maharaj to reconsider. On May 7, 1955, Bhaktivilas Tirth Maharaj wrote back, my suggestion is don't make any hasty decisions. For the time being, you stay with us and engage yourself in the service of the society, and then accept Tridanda Sannyas. The purpose of accepting Tridanda is to serve the society. If that is your desire, then Sri Chaitanya Math will decide about your going to America to preach and make all the arrangements. It can never be the principle of the society to let one act according to his individual attempt or desire. The society will decide after consulting with the heads what is to be done by whom. That is what I want to say. First of all, it is necessary to identify oneself with the society. In order to preach in America or in other foreign countries, it is important to have a dignified organization in the background. And secondly, it is necessary to establish oneself in India before going to preach in the foreign countries. Now it is that there are no conferences or meetings in the West as before. Communication is done through the media of television. Abhay could understand the needs and priorities of the Chaitanya Math, but he could not allow them to overrule what he considered the highest mandate, preaching as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had ordered. Abhay had offered his service to the leaders of the Chaitanya Math, thinking they might also see things his way. He thought that if the with the world's crying need for Krishna consciousness, starting them in the face, staring them in the face, they might see that this Abhay Babu was convinced and enthusiastic, and so should he send right away with whatever he required. But they had other priorities. Abhay next turned to Keshava Maharaj in Mathura, and Keshava Maharaja told Abhay to take sannyasa immediately. After corresponding with Tirth Maharaj, Abhay had left some uncertainty about accepting sannyas, and now that he was being encouraged so strongly, he resisted. But Keshav Maharaj was insistent. Srila Prabhupada, I was sitting alone in Vrindavan writing. My godbrother insisted to me, Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhu, you must do it. Without accepting the renounced order of life, nobody can become a preacher. So he insisted, not he insisted, practically my spiritual master insisted. He wanted me to become a preacher, so he forced me through this. God, brother, you accept. So unwillingly, I accepted. So I stop here for today's reading. We understand how Srila Prabhupada had his vision and how he should be prepped before he goes to America to preach. Um, it was very clear for him that he would take sannyas so that he would get the he would get the necessary attention and respect, and people take serious from whatever the preaching has been made through sannyas, being sannyas. So he attempted to get the sannyas through Chaitanya Math itself, but we see how the things were not going as per his requirement. Finally, he gives up the taking of sannyas, but again, um, his spiritual masters in the form of um, the other sannyas in the Vrindavan insist Srila Prabhupada to go for it. which is a must requirement to do further preaching. So we go for chanting from here.